AI still makes stuff up, fake stats, fake sources, fake quotes with your name on them. That's the number one reason people don't trust AI with their business. Now, most people think the fix is just waiting for a smarter model, but it turns out the model was never the problem. It's how you ask it. And in this video I'm going to explain to you what are hallucinations and generative AI so you can understand it better and apply it better for your outputs and creations that you make. So let's dive in.
The AI that matters every day.
So let's start with hallucinations. The exact definition is when an AI model generates output that sounds correct and confident, but is factually wrong with entirely made up. A key limitation of LLMs that requires verification of important facts. So the things to highlight here is that it sounds correct and confident, and this is what tricks you into thinking that it's telling you the truth, but it's not. It's not lying to you because lying implies knowing the truth and not telling you the truth, telling you another thing. So it's not lying to you, it's hallucinating, and this is the exact concept. Hallucinating means that this AI model does not know the truth, and it cannot lie to you. But as it doesn't know the truth, it cannot say to you, I don't know, because you may pay for a subscription, and they cannot be telling you, I don't know, like a normal person would. So instead of lying or telling you the truth for things that they don't know the truth, they hallucinate. That this is that they invent facts or they predict the next word, that this is how they work. They predict the most probable word that goes to the next word, and this is how to create their text, and they hallucinate. So this happens in very niche topics, for that they don't have the information to tell you the whole truth. This happens for things that you ask that they don't have the data to tell you the whole. They might know a little something, so they predict the next word to give you the full text or paragraph that you ask for. Because as you probably know, in the training phase of an AI model, they give it those tons of amounts of data, millions of data to train it, to have all that context, to recognize patterns, and then they go through the interference phase, so you can actually use it every day and every hour. But if in that training phase they didn't get the data of the niche that you are asking for, it's going to hallucinate. And you have to know that, because as it sounds confidently and correctly, it may trick you into thinking that it's the truth, but maybe it's not. So you have to verificate important facts. Now there are many things why happen, so let's explore them. First, as I mentioned earlier, it's because it cannot say I do not know, as a human would. If you don't know about something, you just say I don't know. But models, AI models, need to tell you something, need to give you an output. They cannot say, I don't have enough data about this thing that you have asked, so I cannot answer. They are not going to tell you this unless they change it in the future, but it's probably not going to happen. So the first reason why this happens is because then they cannot say, I do not know. Another reason is because they are out of date of facts or missing context. If you connect it to your second brain or operating system, they might have information that it's out of date. Maybe they have that your company name is this one, but maybe there has been past 2 weeks that you changed that name, or there are dates that change. And maybe this AI model doesn't have that updated facts, so it hallucinates, it doesn't tell you the truth, because it did not know that you updated or changed something in the facts. Or also it can happen because it doesn't have the enough context about your business or about the things that you are asking for. So out of date facts or missing context. Then we have this plausible over accuracy, because they tend to sound plausible, they tend to sound that they know everything, that they are correct, instead of telling you the actual accuracy. So this is also tricking you like the sounds correct and confidence thing. Then we have that thing that they predict the text engines. They predict the next word all over again. So if in a specific niche, for example, if you ask it about a book in a language that doesn't have a lot of data, it's going to get the small data that it has to then with that data predict the next token and the next token, the next word. The tokens is the unit they use for these LLM models. So it's going to predict the next word to give you that output that you ask for. So let's look at the next thing, the generative AI and the traditional AI. So generative AI is an AI that uses recognition patterns to manufacture something new, to produce an output, to create a new thing, to create a new PDF, to create a new image, a new video, a new audio. For example, we have an AI that generates a completely realistic mock transaction history or writes a financial report from scratch. So it starts from scratch and generates something new. A new output it has to be generative AI. That's why it's called like that. So for example, we can see in here that it's generating an image, a video, anything that you can think of that AI can generate, that is generative AI. From your input to an output that is unique and it has generated from new. It's not, that video was not created before you ask about it. It was generated when you just ask about it. That video or image, for example. Then we have traditional AI. It's something that evaluates and categorizes data based on set of rules or patterns. So categorizes a data from rules and patterns. It follows rules. So in this same example about the transactions and financial report, in this traditional AI, it would be an algorithm that analyzes 1,000 credit card transactions and flags one as fraudulent. So from all those examples, it follows the rules and looks at the patterns and it follows that exact rules or patterns that are set. Then the generative AI, it creates something new. Traditional AI generates something from rules or patterns. It follows rules and patterns. So we'll deep dive into generative AI. So as I said, focus on creating new things, original content. And there are these different types that we have in here. We have text, images, audios, videos, and code. Texts are like those chatbots that you use every day, Cloud or ChatGPT or Gemini, that are good at writing. They generate PDF, generate new text, and create new text. When you ask about it, they didn't have that text already created. They created from all the data that they were trained on. Then we have images like Midjourney, Dolly, that you just paste the prompt in your language, and from that it generates an image, a new image. Then we have audio and music like Suno, that you can create music from just pasting your prompts or explaining it in plain English. It generates a full song. Then about the audios like 11 Labs, that you just can paste something, a prompt, and it generates an audio. You can turn text into audio that it's new. You can choose the voice or create a brand new voice. As we said, generative AI. Then we have the video section. You can transform any prompt into a video with Sora or Hixel. Then we have the code like GitHub Copilot or Codes, that you just give it a raw input and it transforms it into code. It codes for you. It didn't code that before you asked for. It coded in the moment. It generated that new thing. So we have talked about hallucinations, the difference between generative AI and traditional AI, and about the different types of generative AI. So I hope you find this video helpful for you and you have learned something new, and if you did, please give a like and subscribe because it helps me a ton, and I will see you on the next one.
That's how I build. One person and every AI in public. The AI that matters every day.